have the book Happy Dreamer by Peter H. Reynolds, and I'm going to show you exactly what questions to ask your child while you read this book so that you get the most out of reading comprehension. Themes developed in this book are individuality, creativity, the power of embracing uniqueness, nonconformity, resilience, bouncing back, and self-acceptance. All right, the first question, central idea. What does the character want and what problem do they face? The character, we have established that the character is very creative, very imaginative, very active, and like that is basically kind of like their identity. What problem are they facing? Against this is the conformity kind of like against their individuality. It says, it kind of illustrates the main character here sitting in school. It says like, sit still, be quiet. So that is kind of putting a damper on their imagination, their creativity, their individuality, and kind of like forcing them like, oh, in school you have to conform a little bit. So kind of like a push and pull that a kid might experience in school when they have to conform some, and they have to follow rules, and they have to like follow some procedures, and they kind of have to fight their own imagination, their own energy, their own creativity a little bit. Like, you can't just be like bursting out in song and dance and jazz music at school whenever you want. Okay, next question, character development. What does the character's behavior tell us about what they are feeling inside? So the last few pages were basically a celebration of the joy that this kid has in their individuality, in their creativity, in their imagination. On each page, they're kind of like celebrating that, which also ties into their uniqueness, their self-acceptance, their sense of identity, and how like they just find joy in their sense of identity, and really enjoy embracing everything about themselves. And yeah, I think that kind of wraps it up. So what the character is feeling inside is just immense pride for themselves, acceptance in who they are, and loving who they are. So you can see where like some conformity is going to be a challenge in this book eventually. Just a little bit. Okay, here we have cleaning up hides my treasures. So this is where the character has been told to clean their room, and the character reluctantly did so, that they have to hide their treasures, hide their identity. But you know, like on the other hand, like you gotta clean your room. You can't not do that. Like sometimes we have to conform and clean our room, just like in school. Sometimes we have to conform and like follow the rules, follow the procedures. Analyze point of view. Does the main character show or hide their feelings? So in this sense, right here, they are still showing their feelings. It says that they feel boxed in by having to clean up their room, hide their identity a little bit, hide their identity. How do they put it? There will be less of me to show. That's what he says. Like, I had to put a little bit of myself away, and that can make the character feel boxed in. So this is where the character is going to have to embrace ups and downs. This is where the character is going to have to show resilience and bounce back. I think it kind of also shows just like a balance that a kid might have to have between like doing what they want and doing what needs to be done. Like this kid was caused to feel boxed in by cleaning their room, which like you gotta clean your room. Yeah, cleaning your room and following rules in school is not an attack on individuality and creativity. Like a little bit of it is necessary. And the kid is gonna have to show some resilience and bounce back from it, because again, like this entire book has been about this kid talking about how active they are, how creative they are, how loud they are, and so the challenge is having to damper that down a little bit and bouncing back from that. Not feeling bad about who you are, but like finding a balance. Next question, character development. How does the main character react to feeling boxed in somehow? So immediately on the next page, the main character bounces back. And yet I always find a way back. So this character always finds their way back to, like I was saying, their very creative self, their very imaginative self, their very loud self, their very out there self, very proud of themselves and who they are, and accepting everything about their identity. So here we get to the themes of like bouncing back, resilience, self-acceptance. So finding a balance between like, what do I have to do? Like following, like cleaning my room versus like feeling like I can express myself. Last question. There's a big fold out page here that has a lot of illustrations to look at. Last question, central idea. What message, moral lesson does the author want us to take away? So this book is more about embracing your individuality, your creativity, your uniqueness, your loudness, your activity. It is more about embracing that than conforming and finding a balance. But it is about finding a balance between like, what do you have to do, like clean your room, and you know, how do you manage to make cleaning your room not feel like you have been stripped of your identity and that you have to put yourself away. So finding a balance between like being like having a very like exuberant identity and like cleaning your room, and which is necessary. So to run through the themes again, we had individuality, creativity, power of embracing uniqueness, nonconformity, resilience, bouncing back, and self-acceptance. And that is Happy Dreamer by Reynolds.